Steve Kerr had some interesting comments as he compared Kevin Durant to Michael Jordan. He was on NBC Sports. He was talking to Raj Mathai, and he said, quote, Kevin Durant is more gifted than Michael Jordan. This is Steve Kerr. He said, quote, he's just showed he's the most talented player on earth, if not of all time. These were Steve Kerr's comments on Michael Jordan. On Kevin Durant and Michael Jordan. So, Clarence, does Steve Kerr have a point?
I think you need to pull up them Kevin Durant stats because it's about to get real personal in here. It's about to get real personal in here. Now, we're talking about Kevin the Grand Reaper Durant. The one guy that we consider one of the greatest scorers of our era and probably arguably of all time, correct? Yeah. When you look at Kevin Durant, you see the 4 scoring titles. You see a 7-foot guy that moves like a guard. Someone that's just a very efficient scorer that just can score at any type of level. He's a 3-level scorer. You know, he can attack the basket. He can post you up. He can shoot the 3. The mid-range is demanding. The free throws are sweeter than candy and fruit. Yeah. Like, when you looking at Kevin Durant, you're looking at him like this is a bucket. And I get what Steve Kerr is meaning, though. Like, this guy right here can score at any will. This guy, he has the ability to score. If you have the right pieces around him, this man can just do anything. He can do anything with nothing. He can do anything with nothing. Like you see with the Brooklyn Nets, he played all 53 minutes in game 6, I think it was game 5. Yeah, game 5 he played 53 minutes. And he put up a triple double. Like, man, this guy right here, he's amazing. Like, to say he's the more gifted than Michael Jordan, I don't think he has the same impact as MJ because MJ was electrifying, phenomenal. He was the people's champ, and he was a guy that hey, you gonna respect me, and I'm gonna take this 50 and go home. Yeah. And for Kevin Durant, he's more so of the hey, I'm a guy that's to myself that I can give you 30 and 40 any type of night, man. Like when Steve Kerr was saying all this stuff, I was like, I had to really think about what he was really saying. Like basically saying this is probably one of the greatest scorers since Michael Jordan that I ever seen. Yeah. That's how I looked at it. But Kevin Durant, he's on his way up there, and he's one of the greatest scorers in our generation. Oh, of course. In our generation. But for Michael Jordan, I think when MJ had that killer instinct, Durant does too though, but Michael Jordan was different.
He was different, but I actually agree with Steve Kerr, Clarence. I believe Kevin Durant is more gifted than Michael Jordan. I'm going to tell you why. I believe that Steve Kerr used the right choice of words. He said most gifted. He didn't say most accomplished. Yeah. He didn't say the greatest. Okay? He didn't say the best. He said the most gifted. Because if he would have said the greatest, obviously, that's LeBron James. That's Michael Jordan. That's Kobe Bryant, in my opinion. I think he deserves to be in the GOAT conversation. If he would have said most accomplished, clearly that's LeBron. Clearly that's Michael Jordan.
True.
He said most gifted. And when you talk about being most gifted, I completely agree with Steve Kerr about Kevin Durant being the most gifted player possibly of all time because Kevin Durant has a career scoring average 27 points per game on 49% shooting from the floor. He averages 4 assists per game. He's a great free throw shooter. He's a great 3-point shooter as well. He's 6'10" with a 7'5" wingspan. We've never seen anything like the Slim Reaper. He's an amazing player, and like you said, he's a great scorer. But when I think about gifted, I'm thinking about God-given ability. I'm not thinking about the most accomplished. I'm not thinking about the greatest. So I agree with Steve Kerr with his choice of words when he was describing Kevin Durant being more gifted than Michael Jordan. Yeah. The only difference I would say is, though, when you talk about, being an assassin, Michael Jordan is an assassin, and that's something that Kevin Durant, in my opinion, as great as he is, he's never really had that assassin's mentality in his game.
What?
Assassin. I'm talking about having that killer mentality. Kevin Durant doesn't have the killer mentality like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Does he have the capability of, dropping 50 and just saying, get the hell off the court, I'm the best? Of course. I just don't think he's ever had, that mindset to be a killer like a Kobe Bryant, like a Michael Jordan. Because if he did, he would have never left Oklahoma City. He would have never left Oklahoma City. He would have said, I could beat the Warriors, without going to join them. I was up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. I had a top 10 point guard alongside me and Russell Westbrook. If he was the type of player that was like Michael Jordan, like Kobe Bryant, he would have never left for Golden State. Now, I do understand that he left for Golden State because he wanted to play, a better brand of basketball, that ball movement, that the Warriors had going on with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, that unselfish basketball. I understand he wanted to go to Golden State, with that great brand of basketball. But if he had the killer mentality like a Kobe Bryant or like a Michael Jordan had, he would have never left Golden State, and he would have said, I'm not going to join forces with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. I'm going to beat the Golden State Warriors because I was up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals and came up a little short. So I agree with Steve Kerr overall with his choice of words in this particular topic because I do believe he's the most gifted player of all time. But when it comes to greatest and most accomplished, that's a different conversation. Yeah. And Kevin Durant possibly could get there at some point in his career. He just isn't there quite yet.
I just think Kevin Durant, I like Steve Kerr's words, choice of words, the most gifted. Because when you're a 7-foot scorer that can just score at any level, you're gifted, man. And people will die to have you on your team. For Kevin Durant, I think he has that assassin killer instinct in himself. We've seen it numerous of times from OKC all the way into Brooklyn. This man has a killer mentality that everybody wished to have. He shut down LeBron James. Hit him with a shot, shut the crowd down.
What do you see when you think of killer mentality? What do you think of? Because I've never
shut the crowd down.
I'm talking about killer mentality as a player. You said you think he has that killer mentality. How? I'm not saying Kevin Durant doesn't have a capability of being elite from a scoring perspective with a killer mentality like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. But I've never looked at Kevin Durant as being the type of player that says, give me the ball, get the hell out the way. He's done it when he's had to. But he doesn't necessarily have that mindset on a consistent basis. I think he did it in the series against the Bucks because he had no choice. Kyrie Irving went down with the ankle injury. James Harden is compromised. So he had no choice. He knew he had to drop 40 plus for the Nets to have a chance at winning that series. But overall, throughout the course of his career, I've never felt like Kevin Durant had that mentality of give me the ball, get the hell out the way. He's always wanted to be a team player.
No, Kyrie knows that, the last shot is going to Kevin Durant. Everybody that play with KD, he gets the last shot.
But last shot is not a killer mentality. Killer mentality is saying, tonight I'm dropping 50 and I'm going to shoot 30 or 40 shots. That's what killer mentality is.
That's considered more you talking that you got to have a killer night and you perform at it. But when KD does that, he does that everything you saying, hey, give me the ball tonight. He even told Golden State when Steph Curry and Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, they only had combined 25 points. He told Steph Curry, I got you, give me the ball. And he came and delivered and dropped 43 points on LeBron James in the 2018 NBA.
I'm going to ask you a question, okay? Because I think Kevin Durant is the best player on the planet, okay? Make no mistake about it. I think Kevin Durant is the best player on the planet. But I want to ask you a question. If he is a killer, if he's the type of player that has that killer mentality, why did he go to Golden State?
Let me tell you why he went to Golden State. Because he wanted to win. He wanted to win because he didn't want to play with no unselfish player in Russell Westbrook. Look, and from game 5, 6, and 7, they both struggled. But KD had the highest number in scoring. But think about it. If you ain't let's be honest. Let's be real honest and let's think 8th and 9th year in the league and you trying everything you might to get to a championship game and you keep failing. You want to move on?
What I'm saying is, though, if you are as great, as we believe you are, because that was the main reason why I had an issue with Kevin Durant going to Golden State. I had an issue with Kevin Durant going to Golden State because I knew it was going to completely change the complexion of the NBA.
Well, Golden State.
I know how great he is. So because of how great he is, I knew him going to the Golden State Warriors, was going to completely tear apart the parity that we had in the NBA. So that's why I was upset with him. But overall, I think if you have the mentality like you're a killer, I can do it. Like a Michael Jordan, like a Kobe Bryant, you don't go to Golden State. You think that Michael Jordan, you think Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant would have ever teamed up with players that they compete against for championships? You would never saw Michael Jordan go play with Charles Barkley. You would never saw Michael Jordan go play with Patrick Ewing, ever.
Kobe has the history of recruiting one of the best players, but they respectfully declined him. Like Dirk Nowitzki, he prayed, he told Dirk, like, man, come to LA, we win championship, but Dirk declined him.
Come to LA. You see, that's coming to where I'm at.
No, but
I ain't coming to where you at.
But he was recruiting, telling Dirk Nowitzki, leave Dallas, come to LA. Same exact reason what Steph Curry and them did. Leave Oklahoma City and come play with us. Yeah. Like they needed him, and you know it was a good return though because hey, he's a good scorer and they can win multiple championships. Hey, you win you a ring. Yeah. So that's why it kind of looked weird. Like it looks bad because like you joined a team that beats you and all that. Yeah. So I kind of get that type of like narrative.
Now let's transition and talk about the Brooklyn Nets as a team after their Game 7 loss to the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Did the Nets underachieve this season?
Oh yeah, definitely underachieved this season though. But injuries come with the game though. We know it comes with the game though. But you can definitely say they underachieved, like because once you see one powerhouse who got knocked down, the LA Lakers, like that was your window of, hey man, this is y'all ring. Like y'all need to take this. This is y'all chance. Like y'all are the new favorites to win the title. So I just think like they got caught up in that media and just let it like rip through their head and just forgetting like, hey, we're in the playoffs right now. We got to stay focused. And what results of that? James Harden was injured. Kyrie Irving got hurt. So it kind of just messed up the season from there. Yeah. But it's still definitely underachieved because when you got three of the top players at their position, you expected to at least make the finals, man. Yeah. But some might say like, hey, you have to win it. But some like, hey, if you at least make it, we can at least say like, hey, at least I was in the finals. But I definitely think it was an underachieved though with the injuries.
I respectfully disagree because of the injuries, and I think because of the circumstances, we can't say the Brooklyn Nets underachieved. Let me explain why. Like, had Kyrie Irving and James Harden and Kevin Durant all been healthy and they lost in the playoffs before getting to the NBA Finals, I would have said they underachieved because when they put together this trio, you know, expectations were they were going to win the NBA championship. Yeah. But we saw Kyrie Irving get injured in Game 4. We saw James Harden, you know, in the first 2 minutes of Game 1 against the Bucks, he got injured with the hamstring. So I felt like once, you know, the Brooklyn Nets had the injuries that they had, our expectations, you know, went down for them as a team. Like, so I believe it's not like fair to say that they underachieved given the circumstances. But had they been healthy and they lost to a Milwaukee Bucks or Atlanta Hawks team, then I would have said they underachieved because they had championship aspirations. Given the circumstances and them being injured in the postseason, I can't say that they necessarily underachieved. I just think it was a disappointment more so than them underachieving.
Regardless of the injuries, though, some people are going to feel like, hey, Kevin Durant. People say Kevin Durant can carry a team and he can lead them. Like, if Bron was in that position right now, people probably say that he can beat the Bucks. But like that's why I say it's an underachieved because if you're considered one of the best, you do whatever it takes to win. Right. And he didn't. Obviously, he lost.
Yeah. Now let's keep this Kevin Durant conversation ongoing because Scottie Pippen has some interesting comments about Kevin Durant. This was Scottie Pippen. He said, this was him via GQ. He said, has he surpassed LeBron? Nah. He tried to beat the Milwaukee Bucks instead of utilizing his team. LeBron James would have figured out how to beat the Milwaukee Bucks. He said Kevin Durant is a shooter, a scorer, but he doesn't have what LeBron has. This was Scottie Pippen on Kevin Durant losing to the Milwaukee Bucks. So Kevin Durant responded by saying, didn't the great Scottie Pippen refuse to go in the game for the last second shot because he was in his feelings because his coach drew up a play for a better shooter? You remember on The Last Dance, they had that episode where they was talking about Scottie being in his feelings because Phil Jackson drew up a play, you know, and it didn't involve him. Right. And I think that was a year when Michael Jordan retired. But what was your reaction to Kevin Durant and Scottie Pippen's beef?
I think what that beef is, Scottie Pippen was basically saying like, don't be saying he's the next one compared to LeBron because LeBron would have beat the Bucks team. And I get what Stephen A. Smith said earlier on First Take, saying like Scottie Pippen basically was saying like, hey, LeBron would have beat that Bucks team. You didn't. So you're not LeBron. So don't say you can carry a team and you lose. You lose. So and Kevin Durant, it seemed like he got in his feelings like, hey, did you miss that? You was salty because you wasn't the best option to shoot the shot? Yeah. And he was salty at that. So that's why he reacted the way he reacted. Basically, Scottie Pippen, I don't think he mean too much of harm, but he basically saying, hey, You're not LeBron James. You're not ready yet to lead a team. You're not ready to do whatever it takes in your blood to lead a team. Because I will admit, LeBron James has did some like tremendous runs. When he in the 2018 he beat like the Celtics team, not bad itself, but you can really argue and say he did bad itself. Like he knocked these good teams out, like out the playoffs and made it to the finals.
Yeah.
Like for KD, like it was like the same story with him. Like, hey, James Harden is kind of messed up. Kevin Love was kind of messed up. Hey, can you still play at the high level? LeBron James played at the high level. Just Kevin Durant played at the high level, but he got tired.
Yeah.
He couldn't have no more in him. So I just look at it like, hey, I kind of get what Scottie Pippen saying, but then it's like, hey, Scottie, like let him go, man. Let him slide. But in the reality, people like he can't do the things what LeBron do. That's why I say like Kawhi Leonard has a better leadership than Kevin Durant, because whatever any situation is in, Kawhi Leonard delivers and wins for them though. He wins for them.
Kawhi Leonard's not better than Kevin Durant.
No, I'm not. No, I'm just saying like he has better leadership skills.
That's another conversation for another day.
Yeah, but
that's another conversation for another day.
It is though.
I mean, I'm not gonna get into that. But for me, like, you know, my uncle taught me at a young age, Clarence. He always taught me that two things can be true. And in this situation, I think this was, you know, a situation where both Scottie Pippen and Kevin Durant were both right. I agree with Scottie Pippen. I believe that Kevin Durant is a great scorer. He's a better scorer than LeBron James could ever dream of being. But LeBron James is a better playmaker. Okay, LeBron James is a better athlete overall than Kevin Durant. But I think Kevin Durant is a tremendous scorer. And, like, there are things that Kevin Durant can do offensively from a scoring perspective that LeBron James just can't do. Like, LeBron James can't shoot the three better than Kevin Durant. LeBron James doesn't have a great mid-range game like Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has a better, you know, career free throw shooting percentage than LeBron James overall. So there are things that I felt like Scottie Pippen was completely right about, and his basketball analysis was right on the money. But for some reason, Kevin Durant got his feelings and got offended and responded, getting personal. Like, I don't think I had an issue with him responding, but I had an issue with what he said about Scottie Pippen because he got personal with it. Like, but he also was right because Scottie Pippen did get his feelings when Phil Jackson drew up that play, you know, in that playoff matchup. Start pouting, upset, you know, overall. Like, and then you had the one season where Scottie Pippen was mad because the Chicago Bulls and Jerry Krause didn't give him a new contract, so he didn't even rehab in the summer. He rehabbed throughout the season. Remember that? Like, he didn't even rehab in the summer. He just said, the hell with rehabbing. I'm going to enjoy my summer, and I'm going to come back throughout the season, and I'm going to rehab then. So Kevin Durant was right about what he said about Scottie Pippen as well. They both were right. I just think Kevin Durant was wrong for getting personal, and Scottie Pippen was just giving a basketball analysis. Now, it was something that happened this morning. We talked about Stephen A. on First Take. Shout out to Stephen A. and them. Scottie Pippen responded to Stephen A. And Stephen A. was talking about LeBron and, you know, stuff like that. And Scottie Pippen responded and said to Stephen A. that LeBron James won a championship without any help.
Oh my
so
God.
before we get in the night, okay, I need to address Scottie Pippen tonight, live on Wise Guys, okay? Like, we both like gotta talk about this.
Put the mic back.
Yeah, like bring the mic over here, like.
Yeah, he gotta hear that. He was
Scottie
tripping.
Pippen, what the hell are you talking about? Like, are you drunk? Like, what are you watching? To say LeBron James won a championship without any help, I have the utmost respect for LeBron James. I think LeBron James is a top 3 player of all time. I think LeBron James is obviously he's a 4-time NBA champion, 4-time, finals MVP. Obviously, he's a great player, on the floor as far as being a great facilitator. He makes players better around him. But to say that he's won championships without any help, did Scottie Pippen not recognize Dwayne Wade on that Miami Heat team? Dwayne Wade, when LeBron James decided to go to South Beach, Dwayne Wade was a finals MVP, was a top 10 player in the NBA. He also had Chris Bosh on that Miami Heat team, a perennial all-star year in and year out, and then he leaves Miami, goes back home to Cleveland. You have a great point guard like Kyrie Irving, one of the best, the most skilled players of all time. You had a legitimate all-star in Kevin Love. And then he goes to LA, okay, the city of angels, and he gets Anthony Davis, a top 5 player arguably in the NBA, wins a championship. So to say that LeBron James has never had any help when he's won his championships is ignorant. And Scottie Pippen's credibility went completely out the window, Clarence, when he tweeted that this morning in the first take. Like Stephen A. said, he needs to delete that tweet because he lost his all credibility with me. It was awful.
Yeah, it was
awful.
I can't even.
Like, come on, man.
I can't.
Like, come on, man.
I can't even reply to that. I was like, what?
But you know what it is? You know what it is? One more thing before we get out of here. I promise this is it. I think that if you watch The Last Dance, you saw that Michael Jordan, like, he didn't really have that much respect for Scottie Pippen. Like, as far as being like a dynamic duo, like, we knew who the man was with the Chicago Bulls. Like, unquestionably, it was Michael Jordan. Like, with other dynamic duos, you could talk about who was better. When we talk about Kobe and Shaq, there's a debate, like, who was better, Kobe or Shaq? With Dwayne Wade and LeBron. Like, when LeBron went to Dwayne Wade. But as far as overall, like, career, like, you can make an argument that Dwayne Wade was, you know, close to being as good as LeBron James. There was never a time in Chicago where Scottie Pippen was as good as Michael Jordan. Like, that gap is significant. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't even close. Like, that Batman-Robin relationship, Robin ain't close to Batman. So, I think Scottie Pippen, in some ways, he tries to push this narrative that LeBron is the GOAT because he got some animosity towards Michael Jordan because he knows MJ didn't respect him as much as he wanted him to. Like, what you think about that? Like, before, like, I really think he pushed that narrative like LeBron is the GOAT because he knows that Michael Jordan doesn't have the respect for him like he wanted him to.
First of all,
like, he don't really treat him like a true co-star. He didn't do that.
I just think that, you know, Scottie Pippen, he was a product of Michael Jordan. And he was, though. You know, back Michael Jordan looked at him as soft, as a young guy that wasn't ready yet. So he had to build him up in practice to get better.
Yeah.
And it probably was the way how he said things to him back in the day, he like, or just ways he didn't like. But Scottie Pippen, he was a product of Michael Jordan, man.
Yeah.
He was a product.
He was a product of Michael Jordan. I think him and Jordan got some animosity going on between each other.
Yeah.
Like, they really do. And I think Scottie be upset. That's why he just trying to say that LeBron is the GOAT. Man, stop, Scottie. You know damn well Michael Jordan is the GOAT. I think Kobe Bryant deserves to be in that conversation as well. Okay? But you know damn well MJ was the man in Chicago. And I think it's a little bit of jealousy, you know, that. And I also think that's why he was upset too in that playoff game when Phil Jackson drove that play. Like, he was upset because he like, damn, we in the playoffs. Here's my moment. MJ just retired. Here's my moment to shine. Right. Give me my flowers. And Phil Jackson drew up a play for someone else on the team. Scottie was a little upset in his feelings. That was his moment to shine.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, I think KD had like the Tony Kukoc jersey on, so it's probably for him.
Yeah.